Catherine D'Angelo. Here. Sid Blackwelder.
Here.
Darryl Eichhoff.
Here.
Wilbur James.
Here.
Lily Jean Johnson. Here. Marvin King.
Here.
Joseph Lazara.
Here.
Chuck Otwell.
Here.
Rob Sheehan.
Here.
Bernard Silverman.
Here.
Ivy Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a forum.
Okay, and proceed. Okay, do we have any visitors today? See none, so therefore we'll continue on. And then we won't have no public comment. Do we have employee recognition today?
We do, but I don't see him here yet, so maybe we can skip that agenda item and so when he gets here
Come
and
back, yeah, sure.
we'll come back to it,
Okay,
please.
we have approval of the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
Okay. Is there any discussion on it? There being none, go to approve the minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those are not in favor, say nay. The minutes have been approved. Thank you. Continue on. There was no service committee meeting, so there's no report. There was no TAC committee report. There was no TAC committee meeting, so there's no report.
Mr. Chair, if we could, I think we're anticipating having both those committees meet on the 11th. 9 o'clock, 10:30, okay?
I will not be here on, I have to fly north.
So, and we'll have some agendas out for you all middle to late next week. I think there'll be plenty to discuss, both in terms of the service improvements, and we have the paratransit analysis piece that we're working on, a number of other things, so.
And what time is that going to be?
9:30 will be service, or 9 will be service committee, and 10:30 will be the PAC.
Okay.
And I'll send that information out.
Okay.
And I guess just back on employee recognition, I would like to, I'm hoping that this meeting will be right at 90 minutes or less. Just have a few things that we need to get through with. But I would invite everyone, I would like to take you all back and do a quick tour of the maintenance shop. I want to recognize the good work that they're doing back there and show you some of the differences. So if you can hang around for a few minutes afterwards, I'd love to take you back and take a look.
That's today?
Today, after the meeting.
Okay.
And it'll take 10 minutes, it's not a big place.
Okay.
Usually it's the wording general manager that keeps us hanging around.
Yeah, we're gonna get back to the 90-minute meetings. So,
Okay. Financial committee report?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met via a telephone conference last Thursday. It was longer than 90 minutes.
yes, it was.
It was a long meeting. We went over a lot of material. We went over some of the budget items that we discussed at last board meeting. And again, we're going to have that budget discussion every quarter, which was in the audit report that we should do. I agree with that. We've been trying to do that for a couple of years, I think. But fortunately, we got it done. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Tom. We're making great progress. Went over the financials. We have some notes to that today. Went over the audit for the internal control systems. The lady from Webster Rogers attended, and she went over their findings, their recommendations. I believe, hi, come on in.
Come on in, we'll see.
I believe, as I told her, most of the people on the finance committee and most of the people here, we already knew the majority of their concerns. they were our concerns also. And they just had wrote them all down, and we went forward from there, along with any recommendations they might have. So I think we're moving along in great shape. That was about it. It was a great meeting, longer than last time. Last time, it was an hour and 5 minutes last month. So hopefully we can get back to that point. But we did cover a lot of information. Any questions that we can answer for you? You're all welcome to attend.
Yeah, a good portion of the board was there.
Yes, thank you.
Which is good.
I have one question about your note yesterday. I don't have it with me.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you changed the KSP, like on-time performance stuff, and it's up from 46, what new data did you put in? Like, why? How did it?
Well,
how did it move?
the issue with the on-time performance was that there was a way back when we were looking at basically every stop on the route.
Okay.
And so we had a lot more data points and a lot of, there's instances out there where a driver will need to hang back so that they're not waiting at the other end of their route for an extended period of time. And so every single stop was running late. And so we had a very large percentage of regular stops that that were being put in the system as late. And so then we changed that to just the time stops. So we're really looking at the ones that appear on the public schedule more than anything else. And we've also kind of rethought our method for taking the data. This is a driver calling in, telling us, okay, I'm departing the airport, or wherever they're departing, and doing that, that often clogs up the radios. It can become really tedious. So we're doing really more of a sampling at this point. I think the really, the January, February, March timeframe, I think there was, it's not as much traffic out there, and so our numbers went up. But now in April, we're over 90% with the new service improvements.
Yeah, I don't know
And,
how-
we'll see how that works with the traffic this summer, but.
Well, how's the sampling done? If it's semi-random, that's got its own issue. Is there a formal method for doing the sampling now?
Well, we're getting way more than 50% of the data points, so I'm not too worried about, where the sampling is. But it's really, there's a lot going on in customer service, and so, if the drivers still call in, basically, and it's just a matter of whether or not someone's there to write down the time or not, more than anything else, so. When we get the AVLs, it's gonna be collected automatically, so we'll be able to do away with that procedure.
Now, I don't know how, if a plus or minus on each end of it, but I see drivers who call in, like, leaving the mall, when they've already left the mall. They're waiting for safe time, they're waiting for a place where they can, on the straightaway. So they may be calling in.
Well, you can leave a time stop up to 10 minutes late and still be
Okay, so that
considered
would-
on time. So, and we're gonna tighten that up when we get the AVLs, it's gonna be 5 minutes.
So I was not able to look at the material ahead of time before I came, but the point was made that the Fair Transit on-time performance was low. Or you had made a comment like on.
Well, no, it was for the first time we actually had some late trips, and it was because of maintenance issues.
Yeah.
More than anything else. We actually had an in-service breakdown in Air Transit. It was the first since I've been here.
Okay.
So it's not a big deal or anything like that. I think, as I mentioned at the Finance Committee, we're gonna purchase some cutaways off of the state surplus just to shore us up while we're waiting for some new vehicles. So we should be in good shape. I guess the most important thing as far as I'm concerned is you did get a new board report package. And, as I mentioned in my email, I took the liberty of throwing in the new budget so you could see how everything changes. I think the variances are a lot cleaner. They should continue to get cleaner as we move forward through the year. There's a couple like vehicle maintenance is going to pull back in the line because we have we've made most of our major expenditures.
And that's the budget that the finance committee is gonna recommend that the board approve today.
Correct.
So is that something Chuck should do now?
I think so.
Formally introduce that approved resolution?
Sure.
Okay. I guess we need to call on Lynette to read it first.
I mean, are there any, I mean, it's a whole new set of notes. You know, is there any questions about it? I don't, you know,
I never really read it, honestly. I read the whole new thing. One thing I wondered about, when you got your numbers in line with Sage, that's like a major breakthrough, right? I mean, these really, that's coming a long way. That's a big deal.
yeah, if I probably owe Ron a few drinks. He's been hammering on this stuff, and, you know, for instance, in March, we missed an accrual of payroll, 4 days. And rather than opening up March again, we're just gonna put it in April and not worry about it. And that's more than anything else, resisting that temptation to go back like that for, you know, relatively small transaction is really gonna help us out in the long run. We'll make it up in April, it's no big deal.
Right.
And, you know, again, we're looking at trends and things like that, so, you know, little blips, like, if you look at the operating costs in March, there's some outliers there, you know, and that's because of moving Candace's time, things like that, so.
Retroactive adjustments are bad. We don't want to do that, so after we publish the board report, I'm just slamming the door shut, no more entries. We'll explain, you know, if we
What's going
have
on,
to.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if we have a whoops, we'll just explain it in the current month, and so be
You
it.
gotta move forward.
Yeah.
I don't think
Bernie,
the chief
one of the
financial
things that-
officer's gonna do any better for a few more drinks,
I have a refrigerator full of beer.
True
Yeah, there you
that,
go.
true that.
Try to get rid of.
Well, we,
One of the things that we discussed the other day that would answer, I think, part of your question, Bernie, is we're gonna do this every quarter. And so we're gonna go ahead and approve these budget adjustments. I don't think there's anything wrong with them, I'm not saying that. But please understand, you know, we're gonna go through the same exercise. And as we keep going forward with this, we're gonna get better and better at it. And so we're gonna do the same thing, you know, in 3 months. So,
and that's what came out with the Webster's Rogers stuff, is they, I think after we spoke with Charlotte about, you know, what we're actually doing on budget, I mean, this income statement really is our budgeting, looking at the budget sort of on a regular basis, but it's not codified anywhere. We don't have it in our policies or procedures, and I think that's what Mr. Otwell's talking about, is that we'll start looking at it on a regular basis, and hopefully we won't need any more revisions for the rest of the year, but we're gonna go through that process and make sure
Yeah.
that we're on track.
exactly.
Refresh my memory, as we make formal budget adjustments, do we establish thresholds, percent or dollar amounts?
We haven't yet, but in the future finance committee meeting, we will try to get that down on paper and set some thresholds. The only other change on the income statement that I can think of at this point is gonna be breaking out salaries over time, by department, so that we can see if one department or the other, Doug, one department or the other is off track somehow.
Well, one of the things that we kind of brought up, at least I did, a long time ago with regard to the budget process, and I hope we can get to this point at some time, is a top-down approach. Okay?
Yes.
So you're gonna say, what the heck's a top-down approach? Where the budget will be reviewed and fed to us by the department heads. Doug, are you listening? And so I think they know more about it by far than we do. So that's what I mean by a top-down approach. And they're going to be reviewing it, I hope. But there's going to be a learning curve involved also. Please understand that.
So there's really, and this is also out of the Webster's Rogers, there's really 2 main changes. Ron's gonna work on reporting and developing reports that department heads can look at. so they can start making more conscious decisions about how they're handling their budget, see their trend lines and all that. And then we're going to code all purchase orders into the proper account rather than doing it in arrears, which is what we've been doing. All right, so as it goes through the approval process, everybody in that process will be able to see where that expense is going, you know, what account it's going into, and they'll know the impact on the budget in that account, and moving forward it'll be a lot cleaner a method for doing our payables.
As far as approving the budgets, we do have that in the resolution under number 12. So I would recommend we stay the way
Okay.
our agenda is set. Okay?
So we'll do the formal motion.
Okay, you get to put off reading it for a while.
Okay, we got the-
Any other questions about finance committee stuff?
I did have one comment on Mr. Wilson's suggestion, we clean up the balance sheet for you and split out the receivables.
Yes.
That was a good suggestion.
Very astute.
We're trying to clean up the presentation of this, so if you guys would like to see more detail, less detail, whatever, let us know.
Well, the only
And
other
it's a lot
thing,
more comparable to last year.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
When you,
I had me, well, every time I look at
I
it,
knew you're riled up, so
I couldn't,
I better fix that one.
couldn't understand it, you know?
That make more sense to you? I did
when you
feel
do,
apologies.
make any, we'll say swings, and I don't know what the percentiles would be, but if you want, what would be helpful to us would be some notes. You know, just over to the side, so to say.
Okay.
You know, that would,
Something
Yeah.
outlier occurs, that type of thing.
exactly.
Okay,
Okay, then,
we're on the same page there.
why
Thank
don't
you.
we go back as long as Mr. Patrick is here? We can go to the employee recognition.
Doug, you wanna introduce them?
Yes. I'd like to introduce to the board, this is Mr. Timothy Patrick. He's a fixed ride operator, he's been with us for going on a year now, and we took him down to the rodeo down there. This guy plays first base.
Very good.
Grant him a round of applause. Say a few words for the board.
How's everyone doing this morning? Good, good. It's a pleasure to be here. Just like to say that I'm honored to be an employee here at Coast. I'm looking forward to the future. I think there's some great things that can happen here. I know we're in growing pains, but we're willing to endure to get the piece of the pie. So, we're headed to, what's that, Portland?
Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon. We solicit your prayers for that trip, that we go and do the best that we can do. Initially, I wasn't really into the rodeo, because I was knocking all the cones down, but once I got focused, I said, you know, these folks are really taking this thing serious. And came out a winner, and we just give honor to God for it, and we hope to go down and bring that national back.
That'd be great.
Good luck, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick.
Keep it up.
Honored to have you.
Don't knock down any more cones.
Yeah.
There could be people.
You're right.
Okay, we'll go into the general manager's report.
So this shouldn't take too long. I wanted to go through a couple of things we did. I'll just give you a quick update on the service changes, a little bit of status on where we are on some of our funding requests and where the different local jurisdictions are in their processes. fleet update, and then you all are going to be asked to approve a new Title VI program. And I'll just quickly run through the different changes that are on that. I felt like the transition to the new service couldn't have gone any smoother. It wasn't without, complaints or, folks wondering where, things were or how things had changed. But I thought it went really smoothly. Kudos out to Doug and his staff, and Michelle and Erica getting the word out. I think we did see, April's numbers are coming in a little better, at least from a productivity, a total ridership perspective. I think that's really by virtue of running 2 more hours of service at night more than anything else, but I'm hopeful that over time, the fact that you could do, an 11 to 8 type of shift on the system, we should see some better productivity out of the system. One of our main goals was improving on-time performance, and I think that's really going very well. Our system is this pulse system where all the buses meet downtown in Myrtle Beach, and if one's late, they're all late. Well, right now they're running pretty solid, and through April 24th, we've got over 90% on-time performance. I expect that to maybe go down a little bit when the traffic really hits, but it's still it's pretty busy out there right now. But we're in pretty good shape. Doug, do you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure Chuck and Mr. Silver caught that 90%.
Passengers, I haven't heard really anything bad from passengers. I've been out front here. People are pulling me aside and pulling our staff aside, saying things are running a lot better. They're happy with the changes for the most part, and I think that's a good thing. We did have some lessons learned. I think our public information program worked really well, but I think we need to pay a little bit more attention to detail in a couple of things. One, we went out to the public and said that Route 7 wasn't going to change. When in fact it did. We lost a 6 o'clock trip back from the beach. And so we after April 1st, we got some staff out there at that time to make sure people understood that that was a change. And that's really a product of how we're replacing buses in and out of service more than anything else. So that 6 o'clock trip now became like an 8 o'clock trip. And there was a 7 o'clock as well, but just little stuff like that. And it's really just paying attention to detail. I think in the future, I'm going to get a little bit out more in front of this, these changes to talk with municipalities. I think in general, certainly Georgetown County has been, not a whole lot of changes down there, but they've been happy with how things are going with Coast RTA. And certainly we were out front with the city of Myrtle Beach for the most part. But I just, I want to maybe put a little bit more effort on that side. We are now at the point where we're using the Dallas buses to provide the bulk of the service, and that's certainly improved our image. They're really comfortable and a lot more comfortable than what our passengers are used to. So I think all in all, it's been a success, and we'll just see how it goes from here. We'll have some more hard data for the service committee coming up.
What do other municipalities do that are really heads up different at one time of year than the other time of year when it comes to traffic? I'm just pondering the mathematics of if the summer season is so different than the winter season, as we know that it is, in traffic and waiting at lights and things like that. Do they modify their schedules to reflect that? Do they just slow down in the non-traffic seasons and wait for a while? I mean, this seems like a demographic problem that is shared by others, and I'm just wondering if it's common practice to establish the same schedule throughout the whole year, irrespective of what you know to be the traffic patterns.
Right. Well, I mean, I would say it's more of an issue hour to hour than it is month to month. Our routes, our routes are timed basically on the average. Or maybe a little above the average in terms of running time. And that's what most systems do. You don't want to oscillate your schedule over the course of the year because it just gets too confusing for passengers more than anything else. I think we'll be very well served letting passengers know, you know, they don't mind being 10 minutes late as long as they know what's happening. You know, and it's really only occurring at like 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And you know, the long-term fixes for like Route 7, which is now gonna be our problem child, is really longer running time. And, you know, you just sort of, you have more layover in the off-season. It's as simple as that. But you build for, you don't build for the worst of times, but you're above the average, you know, in terms of running time. And you take your lumps. And there's some drivers out there who can do it, you know, and you know, I stress to drivers that you save time when the bus is stopped, not when it's moving. So we're not speeding, but we've got a quick door operation. We're getting our fares into the, you know, into the fare box as quickly as possible, things like that. So, you know, well, the AVL is just going to be a godsend for riders, and I can't imagine, you know, sitting out there and just, you know, if I got to wait 30, you know, the time is 25 minutes, but it's actually 35 minutes before the bus is going to get there, knowing that they can go run an errand.
It might be broken down.
Right.
It might be still in Conway, you got the beach.
How about Route 16, how's that doing?
It's pretty good. 16X is one of our best routes. I mean, that thing is still
That's
even.
the express route.
Yeah, even in the off peak, I mean, it's still getting 20 to 25 people a trip, you know, going through there. So that's
And
That's all
Sandy
you-
Island and.
we getting much out of Sandy Island
I'll say about 5 to 6.
a day.
That's quite a day.
Yeah. So I mean, that's, you know, that's typical for a rural location. The only other thing I want to say on this is if you look at the first 9 months of FY15 versus the first 9 months of FY16, we've had a 10.8% increase in ridership. So that's going in the right direction.
Good. Now, I got just a couple of comments. One is that before the time change, before the schedule change in April, I was out there a couple of days, and I thought that nobody knew anything and we were in very, very serious trouble and everybody would be shocked and whatnot. That was not true, so that's thanks to Doug and Michelle and you and the rest of them. People really knew. They knew before I knew, but I didn't know that they knew, but they did. I have not heard a lot of complaints even on the number 15s that travel on the boulevard. People seem happy enough. And the other thing about drivers, what you said is, you know, there's a driver, you know, Matt Simon, I'll say his name, but he gets that number 7 there on time every day. Not everyone does. And I mean, I don't know, same traffic, same stops, same passengers.
He did 2 tours to Dallas, so he has special.
Tours.
Well,
That's what we're calling them now, tours.
you know, he just gets that bus on time. Mr. James gets it there on time. Mr. Jones.
There are, you know, just like anything else, there are skill levels. And, you know, we try to teach people the way to do it. And it is, the name of the game is streamlining what's going on when the bus is stopped, you know. You know, like when the buses are out here, you know, a driver needs time to go to the restroom or something like that. So we have CSR go out there and collect fares while he goes and does that, so that we can streamline that operation.
That's good.
Those are really good techniques.
Could I ask, Doug, how many families are on Sandy Island? There aren't that many families,
Right
are
now,
there?
it's about a total of 300.
300 people or family? People?
No, I would say about 14, 15 families, but it's a total of 300 residents in San Diego.
So picking up 6, that's pretty good.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
I mean, you wouldn't expect any more than
And
that.
they're independent riders, they ride every day for us.
Yeah, that's good.
And then now they have the school bus.
Yeah.
That also
Yes.
handles passengers as well.
That's correct.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
Oh, okay. But it takes them back to Georgetown, right? Where's the school bus take?
The school bus or the boat?
Or you
School
talk,
boats.
oh, you're talking about the
School
boat, oh,
boat,
that
yes.
brings them out, yeah.
Right.
Okay, what about the, going to the airport? Are we seeing an increase in people going to and from the airport?
I haven't looked at that yet, but I will and have a report on that for service.
Because we're not getting any premium fare on that, so, but if possible, we may be picking up a few more people that way.
And we've had really good conversations with the information folks over there, so they're fully informed, because now there's 2 buses an hour going through there. There's one headed to Market Common and one headed to the beach, so, you know, it's a little bit of confusion there, but we've introduced sort of this inbound, outbound concept so that people kind of have a better understanding of where, you know, which end of the route the bus is going. And that'll just take time, you know, on a learning curve that people will understand that. We've gotten really good reviews from folks in Market Common about being able to get to the airport.
Sure.
So hopefully we'll see some ridership out of there. So, I just wanted to go quickly over where we stand on a couple of the budget requests. I've met with Myrtle Beach, and we increased our request from 30 to 40,000 just to add the chicken soup facility upgrades. I actually heard from Fox Simons, one of the assistant city managers this morning, and he's running through the Public Works Department on exactly the budget. They just want to check the budget, but otherwise they're on board for doing something, and I will be going to City Council to sort of, you know, plead our case that we need better facilities over there, and that this was a good temporary option until we build something bigger. I go to Horry County tomorrow afternoon. It's at 3 o'clock. For those of you who don't know, welcome any board support. It's in that conference room next to the county council chambers. But I have about 30 minutes to talk to council, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our accomplishments. You know, what I see, I think Coast is a better place to work. Our maintenance is just, you know, infinitely better. And talk a little bit about our ridership, you know, our ridership being up and why, you know, what our theories are. And then go through, you know, this smaller request for FY16 to get another $40,000 for them to complete the 15-month year. And then also talk to them about next year's funding. And of course, we're budgeted for level funding, so.
It's 3 o'clock?
That's at 3 o'clock tomorrow.
That's a small conference room?
That small conference room next to the.
How many people are you gonna have in there?
It'll probably be pretty busy, but I think people will come in and clear out, basically, you know, and do stock.
Yeah, but you're talking at 3.
I'm talking at 3 o'clock.
And if we don't get that money from Horry County, I mean, we're just gonna use the money that,
Yeah.
the beginning of FY17 money and.
Right.
Now,
Yeah,
sometimes they
There'll
change,
be a budget revision, but we'll figure it out.
sometimes they change the times because they're ahead of time, so somebody notify me, huh?
Oh, okay. Okay. The other thing is we're transporting them to lunch tonight.
Oh, you
So we're providing a yellow bus over there to bring them over to lunch, and we put a special destination sign, Horry County Rocks. So we'll see how that goes. You know, hedge my bet.
If it's a bus with, one of those little skateboard compartments in it, that's still bad up.
Okay. Yep.
You asked for a $40,000 check in the fare box.
Yeah.
The issue was just resolved.
Maybe I'll put a little sign there, $40,000 deposited here. That'd be good. So I just want to quickly go through a fleet update. I'm not going to throw a fleet roster at you, but I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on a few things. You know, when I got here, we had 45 vehicles. Maybe 20 of them were operating at the time. We were failing to make pull out with 9 transit, 3 paratransit on several occasions. Since then, we've disposed of 20. We've got 4 more on the chopping block here coming up next month. And then we have those 2 that are parked for safety that I don't have an update on that, but we've got to, this summer, start pushing paper to figure out what we're going to do with those things. We've added the 10 buses. I think right now there's 1 from the first batch that's down and 1 from the second batch that's down. But otherwise we got 8 running, and they are running the bulk of our service. So now we have a total of 29 vehicles, 6 cutaways, 3 trolleys, and 20 buses.
How about the air conditioners on the trolleys? Are they gonna be ready for the?
They should be. We're getting a little crunch for time, but that's going to happen in May. So we're rethinking. You know, we're rethinking a little bit about whether or not we want to do the RV version or put a bigger air conditioning unit on there like the one that's on there. So we're kind of comparing benefits as a result.
You'd have to cut a hole in the,
Well, yeah, you gotta, it's,
and it's gotta be framed in.
it takes about 3 days to put the RV AC on there. So we got time to do it, we just gotta pull the trigger on it. So Tom is talking to vendors about that.
Is the RV AC, I know I'm speaking in acronyms here, but is that as robust as a commercial AC would be? I mean, you're really running that AV 8 months out of the year, it seems to me, or at least 7 months out of the year, as opposed to just a
Oh,
family
yeah, I see
taking,
what you're saying.
just a family taking it on a trip to Arizona, then they come back.
Right, yeah, the bigger thing is it's not taxing the engine. The air conditioning unit will be sized such that it's gonna fill the space. It'll probably have 2 blowers on it, so it's getting the front and the back. So I'm not too worried about it. It may not last as long in this environment as it would in an RV environment for that reason, but I think it'll be plenty for keeping it cool, and it may be a 5-year fix, or instead of something that runs for, 15 years.
Well, what's the cost benefit though of a 15-year? I ask because at the university, we discovered that much of the early buildings of the university were done with relatively non-commercial AC units. I mean, whatever people were thinking was beyond, and over the years, they all failed and they all had to be replaced. And I'm just wondering now what the benefit is of putting in something of institutional strength.
But these trolleys are old, so
Yeah, I
how
don't
much
see
longer
where
do
they
they
might
Might
last?
outlast the trolleys.
Yeah, they might have lost the trolleys, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Alright.
So Brian, the 2 buses are down, are there minor problems with them or?
No, I'm
what
not.
levels?
I refuse to drive them. There's safety-related issues, and
She's talking about the 2 Dallas buses.
oh, the 2 Dallas.
Yes.
One is got an engine issue, and we're waiting for another engine from Dallas to get here. And we're just gonna plug it in and then fix the engine on the side. And then the other one has that frame issue. And if you wanna come out with me this afternoon, I will show, or later on this morning, I will show you exactly what we're talking about. And it got hit hard.
He wants to show somebody that frame.
I wanna show you guys that.
Somebody should go look at the damn thing and get it done with.
And then you can go. Paratransit fleet, we're gonna get these 2 used cutaways from the state, and we should have 3 new ones in July. They have been ordered, we're on the 90-day clock, it should probably come in a little bit quicker than 90 days, so I'm hopeful that first half of July we'll get 3 brand new ones in. Trolleys, we talked about, I really want to, maybe in our retreat environment, we sort of talk about future, but I want to try to hedge our future on the possibility of doing something similar in North Myrtle Beach with the entertainment shuttle. And so we'll need more trolleys in order to pull that off. So that's in the back of my mind, so in terms of capital improvements over the course of time. So the 2 that we run, the green and red ones, are in really good shape. The white and green one is in a little less shape, so we need to either think about replacing it or possibly refurbishing it. And then the 20 buses, we're disposing of all the large cutaways. We may even reduce the fleet further down to 18 by disposing of the remaining Opus buses. They're getting too hard for replacement parts. We do have 2 new buses coming sometime in 2017. I've been told that's the grant that the state's given us with the state money. That's probably not gonna be up in the system until after October 1st. So we'll order them on October 1st. So it's a 12 to 18 month schedule to get them delivered. So it'll be either late 17 or early 18 before we actually get them. I think Dallas buses are doing pretty well, especially now that we've gotten these engines. I think we're pretty good to run them for the next 4 to 6 years. The Richmond Gilligs, those 98s, there's 5 of them left. They're 1998s, and they're showing their age. So we need to think about getting them replaced over time. So my goal will be now to buy 2 new buses per year, and that's gonna take some funding. So that is not something that we're funded to do yet, but that's my goal.
Given what the new funding that's come out, we couldn't just?
Well, you're talking about the 5339, the new formula money? Yeah, that is, that's a possibility to get one it's like 130,000 a year, so we need to collect it for 3 before we can afford to buy a bus.
What are they now?
But that's possible.
400,000?
These new ones are coming, they'll probably be 420. So, there'll be, new flyers, they won the bid. But I'm excited, I think, that'll be, we can get up to 7 from that contract, so, I'm hopefully we'll be able to do that over the next 5 years, just get at least 7 buses.
How many passenger?
Brand new buses.
Brand new
How many,
I don't wanna buy any more used buses.
how many passenger buses will there be?
They'll be 40 footers, so they'll be 40 passenger buses. So, and low
Long
floor.
time since we've seen a new bus.
There'll be low floor as well, which does present some issues in back, so we hopefully gotta get moving on the facility too, but, we'll work it out. The last thing on my report is to talk a little bit about, or actually I have some miscellaneous items after this, but just wanna let you know what you got in the Title VI. This is how we serve low-income minority populations. Doesn't have anything to do with EEO, which is employing, not discriminating in employment. And the biggest changes are putting in better detail on what our language assistance program is. Michelle, you want to take like 2 minutes and talk about how that program works? Sorry to put you on the spot.
You're fine. We actually had a really good session in training our customer service team last week. We have a contract with Certified Languages International out of Washington, and it is a DBE vendor, so we're fortunate there. They are able to translate more than 200 languages for us. So at any time between the international students that are here or even our population that we have, if they either walk up to our customer service or call in, it's just a matter of us calling a number, giving our access code to that number and letting them know that we are a client, what language we need translated based on either how we're able to discern it. We have materials ordered that they can either point to their language with these posters and let them know, it tells them what they need to do. So we did that, did a little video test of it so that Doug and Eddie can share that with other customer service people. It just took, 2 minutes? Like literally, it was very quick to have it translated. Eddie spoke Albanian for them so that we had an Albanian translator asking about going down to Georgetown and that kind of thing, so, and going to Charleston, so that we could see how that worked and the process worked for all of the customer service team. So it was very quick, very fluid.
So we're prepared to handle 200 languages.
And we
Wow,
pay by the
pretty
minute,
cool.
so it's a pay-as-you-go and pay-as-you-use it service.
Well, why are we changing this now? We just did this resolution a few months ago. So why are we modifying it now?
Because this particular program was not in the document. And so FTA said you need to have this in there. They wanted updated tables on the demographics of our committees. And then they wanted, we have a new write-up on how we're encouraging participation of minorities on committees.
I was surprised, Title VI is outgrowth of the Civil Rights Act 64,
Yes.
correct? Extensive bookkeeping, if I understand that correctly, every employee has got to sign a document that they've been told
About?
about the program, the rights, and how they can appeal and everything, correct? I think I saw in there, each employee's got to sign.
Yeah, I'll have to check on that.
But why I'm asking, because Title VI is limited to race, color, and national origin. Does not get into sexual orientation or religion. Is there similar requirements for the internal bookkeeping that our employees are exposed to the rights and trained on the sexual orientation?
Yeah, see, now that I think about it, the employees are signing an EEO. I'm not sure if they're signing anything on Title VI. This is about the service that we provide.
Right.
And that we're not significantly burdening and that we're benefiting target populations. So, so there's...
Maybe I read last time, maybe I...
It's sending.
Yeah, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think. Anyway, I was surprised at the extensiveness of the program, and it was limited to those three things, race, color, and national RTA. I just, wow, there's other issues
Well,
out there.
and if we had over 100 buses, it'd be even more paperwork.
Okay.
So,
Bylaws has one for the board.
how often did they sign that? Is it when they're hired or at review time?
Probably, when they're hired. So, you know, in any kind of reorientation, we at least have to remind them of those types of things.
Are we getting Title VI complaints?
No, we don't, I'm not aware of any.
And why don't I see these or I don't know what they're called, Title VI maybe, anti-discrimination signs. I see them, on bulletin boards at stores and things like that. I never see them on our buses. There's not one out here on this bulletin
Sexual
board.
harassment
They're not,
signs.
yeah, I don't know, they look like standard signs. I don't see one in our terminal. Are we not required? I mean,
I
we
think they're up there.
agree to that. Prominently in public displays in the terminal break area and the authority transfer centers. I mean, is this what we're agreeing to do? going
Yes, we have
forward?
posted stuff out there,
We have.
and I'm pretty sure we're compliant.
With this new requirement that's all posted too, that they're able to go into these different languages and all that?
Well, what we have posted is just, or what we've ordered will just be, it's an 18 by 11 poster with the languages. So they say which language they've got that they need help with. And then we've got badges ordered for the customer service reps in addition to some other materials. We're trying to work with their team and create a public keys because they didn't have something like that to say that we have these services. So,
And so when we sign this resolution, if we do, FTA's already agreed to it, or then we have to present it?
No, this is, we had to send them one that was approved by our board. And then they made comments and said, you need to change this, change this, change this, and you need to get it reapproved. And so this should be it.
Brian,
And this will be good for 3 years.
if this is it, and it's good for 3 years, and it has our signature, then we need to turn the Citizens Advisory Committee process back to the staff and just say, get on with it. Because we're signing a statement here that says the Citizens Advisory Committee meets on a quarterly basis.
And it gives the racial breakdown.
And provides an opportunity for the public facilities within various communities. The two-county system are routinely used for those meetings. Meetings are usually held every 3 months. That really puts a pressure on you all as staff, and I think that you just need to, at one point, Bernie and I were talking about trying to do some management of this. We don't think that that's realistic any longer in light of this pressure and also a board signed proclamation. This, technically, 2 months from now, we would have to have a Citizens Advisory Committee meeting. I don't think we could take the community forums that were on service as substitutes for it.
We also have in
We
there.
also have it in the bylaws.
We have the breakdown of
Yeah.
racial
That's-
breakdown.
that's
Our bylaws
Our bylaws
are
say that
waivable
it's-
by ourselves, but a federal document that
Right,
we have
right,
signed is not
Well,
Right.
waivable.
it's my understanding we have additional applications. So that's something that we wanted to talk about at the PAC meeting, is where we stand with that and possibly trying to set up a meeting.
Yeah, if only to give a report of everything that's been done, because if we hold on activity on that until the 11th, we're losing a good couple of weeks in what is a not very long process.
Michelle, is Erica in this week?
she's currently at the symposium, and I'm leaving here to go to the symposium. So we're out all day today.
Oh,
And then we'll be out tomorrow afternoon at the COG. But we are in, it's just, we've got events going on this week.
Okay. So I'll get with them this week and see where we stand on things and get something out to the board on where we are and where we're gonna go with it.
That's gonna meet quarterly, call that.
Right.
That one just jumped out at me as I was looking at it. I was actually looking to see if there were any staff signing requirements in the policy itself. I do not see that.
Yeah, I don't think we're staff assigning on this one. It's the Title VI one. I mean, it's the EEO one.
Okay, I know what I read last night then. It was an old document.
Okay. Thank you.
So then I have, so we'll be asking you to reapprove it here in a few minutes. Just a couple of other notes on what's going on. The AVL program has been initiated. We've selected and they've already started. They've got a draft website with all of our new routes already viewable. We're looking at it for accuracy and those types of things, and we should be getting the equipment for the buses start beginning next week. And we'll start installing the automatic vehicle locators on the buses themselves and get moving. So we're on track for a startup this summer.
I never knew what AVL stood for, until you just said it.
Automatic vehicle locators.
It just never occurred to me what it said.
And the annunciators are gonna be part of the package?
They will be a part of the package, not this summer, but shortly after that.
And who's gonna do the installation?
That's a FY17 expense, so it's gotta be after October.
Tom is gonna do the installation
Tom is installing them
on each bus.
and all of the paratransits. We may
How long
wait and
does
just
that
do the
take?
new ones. We
How
may
long
not
does
put
that
them on
take
the
to
old
do
ones.
each bus?
I'm sorry?
How long does it take to do each bus?
Not long, in hours, not days, so you can do more than 1 or 2 buses per day, I think. And he'll have Candace helping them, so they'll be able to knock them out pretty quickly, I think. Rider's guide and the system map are in the works. They should be in full circulation by Memorial Day. Should be, and hopefully sooner than that, a few weeks before Memorial Day. We really need to get that system map out to the resorts on Emerald Beach so that people have an idea of where our system continues.
Is it a pad thing?
Yeah, it's a gum pad thing. And then lastly, we did, Kevin and I did a little exercise last Friday on how much money we're spending on copiers and printing. And we were averaging, over the last 3 months, over $1,700 a month in printing costs. There's a lot of printing going on over there in operations, with driver's manifests and things like that. So in addition to being, implementing the Brian Piasek Paper Reduction Act, we are going to do a lease on state contract of new copiers. For the same level of printing, it will be $562 a month. So we're gonna save over $1,000 a month, just doing this.
Wow.
And then we'll sell the old copiers, so that's hopefully happening as we speak here, getting new copiers ordered.
Have those rip-off color pads, have they actually gone to press yet?
No, we were revising them this past Monday.
And are they being revised according to some of the comments that the board made, where there were some concerns about the route name being listed on the pages?
Yeah, that's the rider's guide that you're talking about, and that's also in production as well, where we're basically, it's more than stapling those route schedules that you saw. And it'll be a better format and a little bit more readable and
So what we're
those types of
spending
things.
the big money on will be on the revised copies that
Yes,
are
that are
updated
corrected
with
and-
the headings.
Yes,
Thanks to Mr.
yes. And then the gum pad is a little bit different. I mean, I think it's gonna be more Myrtle Beach centric. And it's for visitors more than anything else on, where our system goes and that type of thing.
Are we gonna distribute them to the libraries?
We can, yeah. The biggest thing is getting them to the resorts and getting them, wherever we're selling passes and that includes Piggly Wigglies and things like that. So, yeah, we'll do a broad distribution. We're 100,000 in the first run. We gotta figure out where we're gonna store them. So it'll be a big production run and, thankfully our system will be consistent here for the next 18 months, so that should be good. So we'll probably have to do another production run, later on in the year.
And how big are these sheets that can put in their pocket?
12 by 19.
They're 12 by 19, but they can be folded, yes. So the 100,000 run was like $9,000. They're not that expensive, so it's I think money well spent.
Have we started selling passes yet?
We've always been selling passes. We don't sell a lot. We need to increase that. Fare structure analysis is on the list.
Marvin, I've got some if
It's
you
in,
want to buy 'em.
it's in triple figure. What was that?
I got some if you want to buy 'em.
You want You selling black market now? That
All you gotta do is ask.
that concludes the general manager's report.
Okay, very good. Well, we go
Got a
to
half
the
hour to go.
approval of resolution.
I think Vicki wants to say something.
Did you have a question, Mr. James?
Yeah, I'm gonna sign off, and I'll get you guys later.
Okay.
All right, bye, Mickey.
Bye, Mickey.
I'll give you a call later before.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm hitting the lights.
Are you gonna
Hmm?
do executive meeting today?
Yeah, short.
Sure.
I'm sure everybody will get back
Yeah.
to
You got them all back except for his now?
them all complete.
Okay.
Okay, go on to the
How many
resolution.
times have you asked? Next meeting. How many times have you asked him?
I don't think he, say something
If he doesn't see that, he can leave.
When you were a
Well,
little
it's
girl,
a hard
things
time
out.
getting things off.
when you were a little girl, you
You can
nudged
leave
your
if you
brother
want.
with a
Sorry?
pencil just to see
I didn't know
if he was
thought maybe y'all
alive.
had some more questions for him.
Or his sister.
I was
Well,
the
good luck.
older one.
Not
I
that
was
we
there.
What's your strategy?
I was getting all the time.
Don't hit the corners.
And what category did you win in, the 40-foot bus? Cutaway?
Yes, cutaway, yes, sir.
Can we go into the approval of the resolutions now, please?
Good luck.
Thank you.
Waccamaw Regional Transportation Authority, resolution number April 2016-13, approval of updated Title VI program policy.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for approving the updated B6 resolution
I
policy.
so moved.
Second.
Do we have any discussion on it? On the resolution for Title VI program policy? There being none, we have a vote of approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All against? Nay. The approval has been granted.
Did you vote nay, Joe? No. Or you were just saying nay?
No, he didn't vote
Oh,
no.
okay.
I mean,
I thought you said nay, so I don't know.
He said all opposed, he said.
Opposed. Sorry.
I said all opposed say nay, nay. Little stutter.
Let's go on to resolution number APR 2016-14.
Waccamaw Regional Transportation Authority, resolution number April 2016-14, approval of Waccamaw Regional Transportation Authority revised fiscal year
Budgeting.
2016 budget.
Budget T, it says in our minutes.
Is correct, George.
Got it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the resolution number 14?
Well, I'd just like to comment that I think that Chuck, his whole committee, Rob and Brian are doing a great job from finances. I don't worry about them anymore. I think people are worrying for me, so I think that's great. And I think that they're doing a good job. I have faith in what they're doing, and I appreciate it.
I'm still worried about the English language. Budget T.
All right, now.
Any further?
You can bring back Mike if you want to vet some,
Yeah,
vet
really.
some words.
There being no further comments, we have approval.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Not in favor, nay. The approval of the updated resolution number 14 has been approved.
He's standing.
At this time, we'll have, go into executive session.
Can we get a motion to go in?
Personnel, do we have a
I so
motion?
moved.
Second.
Okay, we come out of executive session.
I make a motion to come out of there.
Okay. We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, nay? We've come out of executive session and no decisions were made.
So is the camera on?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's true.
We go into old business?
We don't have any.
Any new business?
one item, just the process. Why do we have executive session and the agenda prior to new and old business? In case we had visitors here today, they would have been asked to leave. And then they may be interested on an old business. I'm just curious to why do we have to do it that way?
We've never had no, no old.
Yeah, I don't even know if we need those on the agenda at all.
Right.
I guess we ought to have a new business, just in case something else.
I agree, I think it can be rude
Yeah.
or disrespectful to guests that you're waiting for old or new business, but usually they would be incorporated into the GM's report.
Right.
But I've seen some really bad, protocol happen.
Yeah, that's my.
We can put it.
Just-
Yeah, we
can change
can
it.
move it forward, move those two forward.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, that's the right way to
Do we have any new business announcements?
Executive session?
Under, I think, new business, I would just simply like to reiterate my thought that we should have a retreat. And I know my own time schedule is fine, ending the entire month of August through the middle of September. And I don't know how that gets initiated, but Brian, one of the things that I would like to suggest is that board members themselves contribute possible topics to that retreat, and Joe, that they contribute possible topics. I don't want to leave it up to you as GM to plan the retreat, because it should be the board retreat and yours together.
Yeah, I have a few things I'd like to talk about, sure.
You want to think about a date? I mean, summer's coming, people take trips and whatnot.
Gonna have it on a Saturday?
Could be
Yeah, that's fine with me.
last week of August.
Okay.
See what happens.
So are you proposing a time?
9 to 12.
Okay. And do you want to have it here or off-site?
I'm not a big believer that you have to be off-site to breathe different
You have
air.
to pay for a place.
This is,
Yeah. What date you wanna have?
The 27th of August, is that what you're going towards?
Fine with me.
27th of August.
It's near Labor, is that near Labor Day weekend?
We could do the
Well,
weekend
maybe
before
Probably
that.
the next weekend.
Which day?
Saturday, August 27th, 9 to 12.
August 27th.
Not a whole day, just a 9 to 12?
Or we could do 9 to 1 with lunch and cut through lunch. That would be,
Yeah, that might be.
I
nice.
think
Yeah,
you're-
you gonna put that
We
in,
want efficiency, 9 to 12 and no lunch.
you send that out?
No, I think
So
you
do
should
9 to
give us
1
lunch.
with lunch, just
after all, it's
sandwiches.
Saturday.
Okay.
Well, lunch is nice too, because you get to talk and sit around.
All right, wait a
I
minute.
remind you when I previous general manager refused to sit by lunch.
August what?
That was fun.
Saturday the 27th.
Remember when she refused to provide
Oh,
food?
it's down here already.
August 27th, sit down there.
We'll get an invite to everybody.
Yes.
Great.
And does it make sense to, I don't know, set up a 2 or 3 person ad hoc committee to kind of spearhead this maybe?
Yeah.
And then, I'll certainly work with that committee to help
Yep.
frame it. So is that, I guess, have Joe make some assignments or
Yeah.
ask for volunteers or however you want to play it.
I'll volunteer.
And I'll volunteer. And Joe, I'd like to.
Okay.
Okay, what do we have for?
There you go.
Is anybody, let's see, so.
have a little-
Too late, too late.
So remember, so she and.
All right, you put it part of the minutes. Okay. All right.
And I would say if you have any suggestions for the agenda, email them to Lynette, and we'll keep a running tab of them and figure out, what we want to talk about.
And we should keep it visionary. We have a way of getting down into the weeds, which is good at some level, but we should be looking 18 months out.
Okay.
When you gonna chair this ad hoc?
I'm gonna let Joe decide how he wants
Oh,
to
okay.
set it up. I'll be happy to.
That would be close to our board meeting, maybe we just incorporate the board meeting into.
Yeah, that following Wednesday would be a board meeting. That's fine.
So we can just put the board
We
meeting
don't have
in.
any public
Yeah, but then you're.
issues with having it on Saturday?
I don't know know about that, that doesn't sound.
I think that'd be, I think this is gonna be a private one. I don't think it,
Let's keep the board meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the retreat cannot be private.
No.
You have board meeting, you have meeting of board members of more than a quorum.
okay.
It has to be,
All right,
public.
okay.
I think
And
we'll
we
just,
had
I
public
think we should
work,
have 2 meetings.
yeah.
Okay.
We'll start the year off.
If it's too close together for people, we can move this back to back a week or something, to the 20th, something like that.
Okay.
I mean, if it's gonna be a problem, I don't wanna cause a inconvenience.
Then why don't we move it back to the 20th? And that way there'll be 10 days between that meeting.
Does anyone have a problem with August 20th versus the 27th?
No, that's probably better because it's,
August
That
20.
would- Because if people wanted to go away on a long weekend,
Yeah.
Labor Day weekend,
And then they won't be so close together, and you won't,
their board meeting.
Okay, fun.
Okay.
are we going to the, are we adjourned? Or did I? that-
One thing, if I may. In your notebooks, we've now reached the point that you have a year's worth of material in your notebooks. I'm gonna be taking those out. If you would like to have yours, let me know and I will put them in an envelope and give them to you.
You're gonna take them out 1 month at a time, or are you gonna take 6
I'm
months
gonna
out?
take the
Well,
whole
you're out.
thing, the whole thing.
Oh, start from fresh, okay.
yeah, all right.
I like mine.
I like mine.
mine.
I like mine too.
I would too.
I got a shelf with all kinds of stuff on it.
Yeah.
I'm not filling it
Chuck,
up.
you wanna?
Yeah, I guess so.
Sit?
Okay,
You never
I'll just
know.
save everybody's.
So, yeah,
number.
we could maybe even,
Mhm.
You don't think you got room on your shelf?
Oh, God.
You don't have room on your shelf
No.
for another binder?
Right.
All right.
very good.
Thank you.
All right,
okay, so we,
Pleasant morning.
Well, for an adjournment,
Are we doing a
Yeah, we gotta
We're
take
gonna do a tour.
your grand tour.
Yeah, go ahead and adjourn and then we'll go out there.
I've got a student I have to meet at 11:30, so I'm gonna skip the tour. Is it a surprise tour, is there any?
No, I just wanted to see you, have you all see a lot of good things that are going on back there.
all in favor of adjournment?
Hey, see you all.
Aye.
I'm gonna grab my student.
Uh, Any nays for the adjournment?
Yeah, okay, thank you for the agenda.
Well, you think
Thank you, Ron. He did look like he wanted to keep meeting.
Bye-bye.